What's up? It's your man, Coach Block. This is not TDS Radio. This is usually where Kim and I do our show, but Coach wanted to come in. So we're in the TDS studio, and now we're doing First and Goal podcast, the #1 podcast for player development, both on and off the field. And to my immediate left is Coach Ed Brooks, who rocks out with me on the high school highlight. And into my far left is my guy, Coach Cory Lea. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Coach Block?
I'm doing good.
Having me, man.
Hey, man, no problem. Hey, you ain't got to come with the peace and blessings conversation. This is not the midnight hour with Coach Cory Lea. Go ahead and yell like you do at the kids.
I got you.
So now we're going to do a lot of bit of twists and turns in this conversation today. One of the biggest things for me is to always create content that is going to be advantageous for players and for parents, both that they can use this information and also give them a little bit of what happens behind closed doors whenever coaches talk to coaches. And that was the main line of this, is that coaches talk to coaches. But if you can, Coach, give them a little bit of your background, what you did, what you do, so that we can go ahead and jump into today's conversation.
Quick and dirty. Currently the head coach at Riverside High School.
Mm-hmm.
Just completed my 9th year at Riverside.
Congratulations.
8th year at head coach. Been a couple of different places. Before I was at Riverside, I did a year of pandemic football at Cedar Ridge, which was a really great learning experience. Before that, I was at Riverside, and then before that, I was head coach at Northern Vance High School, since consolidated and it's Vance County. So I was there for 3 years, and then before that, I was OC at Riverside High School. Did that for a year, and then before that, where was I? I was at Barley Yancey High School for 3 years. So that coaching experience, I've been at Person High School. That was where I first started teaching and coaching. I've been at Granville Central High School, where I got my first coordinator job. Go before that, I'm a UNC alum, Mac Brown 1.0. And before that, I am a Reedsville High School alum. So, sad not to see my Rams in state championship this year. That's a different thing for me. But they'll be back at it next year.
That's what's up. So then what we're going to do first is just get this out the way, because I'm sure people are curious already. State championship playoffs. We are now down on the East to the final 2 for 4A.
I got you.
Who are you taking?
In the East, was it Roseville and Givens, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna pull from my kid who went to the Roseville game, and he called me by halftime, and he was like, "Coach, Dad, they're really good." And I guess from a standpoint of just seeing both programs, Roseville is super talented. They are super talented, and one thing that I did see when I watched it on television is they are really good up front, really stout up front on both sides. But however, I do not, in my years of experience, I haven't played against Gibbons, haven't had really good sit down conversation with coach. I do not discount Stephen Wright's ability to dismantle a team.
I said the same thing. Yes, absolutely.
I was really looking forward to a really strong game between them, and Hoggett and I watched them pick them apart.
Right.
And I've seen it up close. I've had him do it to me. And
me too.
And I just really think it's going to be, you got Rack who's an extremely good coach, and he is culture first, and those guys are bought in
100%.
They are 100% in, and to see that against the workmanship, a little bit at a time, we're gonna scheme you here, scheme you there. I think it's gonna be a really good game. I can't give you who I think will win, because it's athleticism.
See, man,
I'm just saying, you got athleticism and good coaching, and then just that tradition that is Cardinal Gibbons. I've seen them play more athletic teams and beat them. So I'm saying it's a push. If you want to give me one
pick, Coach.
So I'm 34-31 Roseville.
Okay. Coach Brooks.
I haven't been on the sideline watching, evaluating both teams throughout the years. I think the Eastern Regional will go down to whoever has the ball last, and I'll give Roseville a 3-point edge.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's going to go the distance.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, you know, I know people think I am a Cardinal Gibbons hater, and I'm not. The one thing I say all the time about Cardinal Gibbons is that you have to play a disciplined game.
Yes.
They're not going to give you the
No.
game. You have to go in and take the game,
Right.
which is very tough.
And that's the reason that as a coach, I want to play them.
Yeah.
Because when you get into the playoffs, especially past the second round,
Mhm.
you can be athletic all day long.
Yeah.
But until you see a team that is well coached from top to bottom,
Right.
they do what they do and they do it really well.
Mhm.
You're not going to be successful until you see teams.
Right. So Coach Wright is the reason why Enloe has huddle sideline, because I didn't know about it.
Right.
And so I'm coaching my ass off, and I'm using a whiteboard. I'm trying to. Then I looked across the side, and I'm like, they got tablets,
Yeah.
a TV set,
Mhm.
everybody's sitting down,
Right.
everything's calm, cool, and collective. I'm over here going hectic, and my pen ain't working.
Right.
Hell nah, we need that. I don't care how much it costs.
Right.
We need that, because, like you said, the one thing I will say is that coming into a game with Cardinal Gibbons, you know, every single thing you do has been watched, and they've gone over it inside and out. Your weaknesses, they will bring to the table. And if you think my plan A is going to work the entire game, you are dead wrong. You better have your adjustments ready.
And I think the difference is with them is that when they make adjustments, they make them the next play.
Yeah.
and that's the big difference. Like,
they happen so fast.
Right.
Yes.
Your mortal teams can
Mhm.
make adjustments. The next good teams can make them the next series.
Yeah.
They can make them halftime.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You can get them.
Yeah.
You can get them once. Yeah. So,
See that that's the reason why Huddle Assist came out. I mean, I promise you, we fundraised for it and everything, because, like you said, they were making adjustments at real time. I'm going with Roseville only because I do believe, and this is what I told Mr. Ziegler, Mr. Emerald City himself, the Wiz. I'm gonna start calling him the Wiz. Is right now, usually you see teams start to get a little weary from the emotional ride that they've had this year, because they've had a lot of things happen to them
Right.
just as a program.
Right.
And sometimes it wears on a team, so you can start to see the playoffs like, the emotions are catching up to them. These guys are getting stronger. They made Cleveland look like a JV team, and Cleveland's a solid squad.
they're taking those emotions. They're playing for that.
Yes.
They're not playing in spite of. They're
Right.
playing for that.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
that's where I'm saying, and it was a what, overtime win last time they
Right.
played.
Right.
I don't expect anything different, but I am still going to take Roseville. So, you know, and for anybody who thinks I hate Roseville, please understand I don't hate Roseville. It's just,
Yeah. I mean,
I don't hate Gibbons.
Gibbons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Wright is the tactician. He's probably one
Yes.
of the best in the business. Whatever worked against him the first time is not going to work round two if you have to play him in the same season. He's done that time, proven that time and time again.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to change your schemes and plays.
Yes.
What worked in the overtime win
Is not.
regular season is not going to work this coming Friday for the Eastern Regional Championship.
Not at all. Not at all.
Going to work.
So then let's get into a little bit, since we're talking about schemes and things like that. And, you know, as a head coach, right now we're in the off season for some players and for some teams. What do you do now when seniors are gone and it's time to reload? And, you know, for a head coach especially, there's no such thing as an off season. So when you're now in this mode where we got the holidays, and, you know, right after this holidays, we got to be rolling. Where do you start?
I think, you know, you start with an honest evaluation of, number one, your season as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at what we could have done better, what we did really well,
Mm-hmm.
And trickle that down to your player evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna be losing?
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna, you know, what do we need to develop?
Mm-hmm.
And filling holes.
Yeah.
And then I think finally, as a coaching staff,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have an honest look at each other. You know, I do that with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, have an honest look at your staff. You know, what can we do better? What can we change?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to change our focus?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think once we do that level of evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
then we go into what I call, we make basketball evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
So like what I'm doing is I got to take, like, if I don't have the guys to run the motion offense.
Mhm.
And guess what?
I got to go get them.
I got to go. I got either. Well, and here's the thing. A lot of us are not in a position where we can go get them.
Yeah.
It's just we got to change what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm a basketball team and I got a bunch of guys that are slow, I can't press and I can't run.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So
Yeah.
just going almost back to the drawing board
Mhm.
and looking at what you did well. Okay, we can't do that.
Yeah.
I think that's the first place where you go before you do the things that everybody else does, which is, let's get back in the weight room.
Right.
So-
Right. And what you're saying, that the development piece is what we were talking about, which we're going to get to, because we got two parents inside of the room that y'all can't see. But one of them had a great question, Mr. Wiz himself. But when you're talking about developing a player, and this is in your opinion, and Coach, I want you to give it as well. Do you feel like, because we had this conversation this morning with Mr. Deloach, do you see high schools having the ability to develop guys the way they need to transition into the college ranks? Or are there a lot of time constraints where now the pressure is to win and we need these guys to have a certain foundation coming from youth so that we can accelerate that process in high school?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Mhm.
I think, when you have a kid in high school, I want him to do what I need him to do
Mhm.
so we can win football games.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if we're developing, if we got a kid that comes in, I need you to almost get to the point where you trust me blindly,
Mhm.
As far as developing what we do and how we do it and things like that.
Mhm.
Now, I think there are certain fundamental things that you need to be honest with that particular young man
Mhm.
with what you need to do to get on the next level.
Okay.
A lot of it, if you look at the standpoint of college football right now, they, and just me having conversation with college guys,
Mhm.
they could give a damn about
Right.
how they do stuff.
Right.
Are they big enough? Are they strong enough?
Yeah.
What do they look like when they walk through the door, when
Mhm.
they come visit?
Mhm.
A lot of it is that.
Mhm.
And, I think your kid's technique doesn't have to be this or that or
Mhm.
the other. If the kid's got the things that you can't coach,
Yeah.
motor,
Mhm.
effort,
Mhm.
and then, colleges are big, tall,
Mhm.
fast.
Fast. Mhm.
So I've always approached it like that. Now,
Mhm.
if there's a couple of things like certain, like my offensive guy.
Mhm.
So if I'm dealing with a quarterback and I can say, hey man, if you want to go to school, when your film shows up, the ball needs to be doing this.
Mhm.
You need to show yourself not making mistakes.
Right. Right.
Those little things
Mhm.
that translate to college.
Mhm.
I think those need to be done. But
Yeah.
I got my team's got to win. So,
Yeah. 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 How do you feel about that, Coach? Are you seeing it, because you come in and you're looking at it from a recruiting aspect and a scouting aspect? When you go to these different programs, are you seeing the up tempo? Hey, look, you're not getting it, get out. Or are you seeing guys still take the time to develop those guys and maybe give them extra reps? Or what are you seeing now that the scope of the expectation on the college ranks has changed? Because right now they're looking for guys that can get in and play. So what are you seeing in the high school ranks?
What I'm seeing and recently, they don't really have time to give the kid a lot of extra reps,
Mhm.
which means that the kid's got to do work on his own
Mhm.
to improve his technique, because the demand and pressure to win is at all levels, just not at the Power 4 level.
Mhm.
It's from D3 all the way up.
Mhm.
The demand to win is now. So it's not like it was 7, 8 years ago
Mhm.
where you could bring a kid in as a high school incoming freshman,
Mhm.
give him a year or two to develop,
Mhm.
and then he's ready to go.
yeah, you don't
They
have
want
time for
players.
that.
They
Mhm.
don't have the time now.
Right.
Players have to come in there ready to play year one if needed.
Mhm.
If not, they don't offer 'em. It's just so much pressure to win,
Mhm.
and that's at some point, ways it's a disadvantage to the kid, because a lot of
Mhm.
good kids get overlooked and don't get offers because the schools don't have time to let them develop.
Right. Right.
And it's a disadvantage, in my opinion, to the high school.
So then, with seeing that and knowing that, how does that operate in specifically your program, and especially when you have parents that may not quite understand that? You get what I'm saying? So then you have a parent who may think, you know, I know my son has potential, but you're looking at it as, well, that's potential in 2 years. Like we're talking about right now. So how do you have those conversations with parents? And then what do you think, even in just conversations with parents, they should, general understanding they should know about their student athlete? Because, you know, everybody has those rose colored glasses on. So how do you have that conversation? And then what are some things that coaches, especially the young guys out there, can have conversations with parents about?
I think first of all, you have to really not sell, but you have to explain to your parent of the difference between what your kid is and what your kid can be.
Mm-hmm.
And also look at, hey, you know, right now your kid's 5'6" and he's 140 pounds. There's only but so much that he's gonna take, you know.
Yeah.
I think like looking at it from a college level, you're wasting your time.
Right.
You need to have that kid be the best kid, best player that he can be right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how can he help us as a high school?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the faster we can help parents to recognize what their kid can be.
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, like I've got a kid that started for us at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, probably most varsity teams he probably wouldn't start for.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid, he's wiry. He's a sophomore and he's like 6'3"
Mm-hmm.
now. And he's probably 6'3", 170 pounds,
Okay.
soaking wet.
Yeah.
However, at a certain point, this kid's gonna be 6'4", and then I gotta explain to the parent. Now, God has blessed him that he's gonna be this tall.
Yeah.
You got to work on 6'4", 235.
Right.
6'4", you know, 6'4", you know, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Coach said right here, from a college standpoint, when they come through the door,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have time.
Right.
To
Right.
do that. Like, and I'll give you an example. Look at the guy from A&T. Where are the kids that he, you know, if he took any high school kid, well, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, it's, and then I think also you have to have a really candid conversation with a parent about the portal.
Yeah.
Because it has totally changed recruiting.
Yeah.
And you got to get a parent, you know, you know, you have kids and we hear them all the time. Well, if I can't go D1, I'm just not gonna play football. You're just not gonna play. You know,
right.
So,
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
you know, and just understand that from a standpoint of the power 4 guy,
Yeah.
that needs to fill a spot just like we do in high school, but needs to fill it now and
Mm-hmm.
needs to fill it with that guy.
Yeah.
They're not taking a chance on a high school guy. They're
Right.
just not.
Right.
They want a kid with film. They don't want a kid that knows what it likes to go to class.
Yeah.
To understand the schedule, the regimen,
Yeah.
the rigor.
Mm-hmm.
They want that kid. And has film.
Yeah, and so then
Right.
now what you talking about that, and Coach Brooks, please jump in on this one too. I tend to be on this microphone and have this podcast, or either I get into my Facebook thumbs and I start saying what is said behind closed doors when it's just the college coach and the head coach, or a recruiter and the college coach. Could you, from your experience, be candid about what those conversations, because I tell people it's not very long conversations about specific kids. It's either this or that, grades or this, all right, and then we start talking about football or some other stuff. But in your opinion and what you've experienced, what you guys experienced, could you just give what happens once that door shuts and it's you and a college coach?
College coach comes in, and it really depends on who it is.
Yeah.
So let's start at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got your power 4 guys,
Mm-hmm.
who are basically now, because of the transfer portal, coming out of courtesy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they come in the door. If your kid is a junior or a senior, they're not even thinking about it.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
They don't have any conversation about it.
Right.
They want to know who your freshmen and sophomores are.
Yes.
Who are those guys? Who are standout guys?
Mm-hmm.
And usually those are your freshmen and sophomores
Mm-hmm.
that are starting
Mm-hmm.
on varsity football.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to know height, weight, whatever. Does there a little film? They wanted to just get the name in the system,
Mm-hmm.
so they can start following. So they can, you know, whatever recruiting service they use, they want to be able to do that
Mm-hmm.
and know who they are. Now, you know, NCAA rules say they can't talk to them, nothing
Right.
like that, but just need to get them on the radar.
Right.
You come down a level, let's say FBS, Group of 5, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're probably looking for the same sophomores and juniors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's still, how tall is he?
Mm-hmm.
How big? How fast?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had him come through the door, and I've had a kid that rushed for 2,000 yards, but he was 5'7", 165 pounds, and he was built like a brick shit house,
Yeah.
but they did not care.
Yeah. Yeah.
We play with this is who we play with.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still on that, but they're probably a year later.
Yeah.
Then you come into like your Division twos,
Mhm.
and depending on, and they're mostly now they're looking at, well, traditionally they've been looking at your rising seniors.
Mhm.
Who are your guys?
Mhm.
Let's go on and get them on the radar so we can start evaluating film, what they have going on.
Right. Right.
Because if a lot of what I've learned as a head coach, that if you got kids that's got Division I looks,
Mhm.
they're really serious about that.
Mhm.
Division twos won't bother.
Right. Right.
They will not
Right.
bother.
Right.
Because they figure, well, if this kid has a FBS kid or
Yeah.
FCS kid or whatever it is, we're not going to get.
We're not going to get them anyway.
I'm not going to waste my resources.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
It is a gift and a curse. I have said that same thing where their kid sometimes get caught in that gray area,
Right.
because we know now he ain't going to go, but schools are like, but he might.
Right.
We're not going to waste that time. Yeah.
And then you step and you go to do D3. Now, usually they come through the door and they'll just take whoever.
Yeah.
Who's interested in playing football,
Mhm.
you know, and try to figure out. Now, usually they want guys with good grades because they can't give athletic scholarship.
Right.
So they want to be able to throw a boatload of academic money or
Mhm.
grant money or whatever it is they pull from.
Create that package.
And they want good players. Don't get me wrong, but they want the guy that the D2s, that, you know, the D2s are not looking at, the D1s are not looking at, but they are really good football players. Now, that's what I think that a lot of parents, you know, get skewed at, is you may have a really good football player, a good high school player, but he may not be that guy to play even Division II ball.
Right. Agreed.
You know, and it's not a knock on your kid or anything like that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I also think it's hard to translate that to a parent, because like if I say that to a parent, well, you know, your kid is this, but he's not that.
Yeah.
And I'm giving honest evaluation.
Right.
I mean, I don't dislike the kid.
Right.
Kid may play for me, be all conference guy, be whatever.
Yeah.
But he's not this.
Right.
He's not that. Probably a good enough fit is to be able to go to this school. Maybe it's a JUCO, maybe it's a Lewisburg, you know, maybe it's a NAIA, a St. Andrews or something like that. Or, you know, let's find a good academic fit at a Division III to just have.
There we go.
Football. So then we have the conversation on, let's play for a discount.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
What's wrong with playing for
Ain't
a
nothing
discount?
wrong with that.
You know, when probably one of the best players I've ever coached came through, and he got a half offer from North Carolina Central, and they were like, "Oh well, dude,
yes,
that's
half the bill gone, baby."
Yeah, if you're talking about a shade under $20,000 a year, you got to pay with $8.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
you're coming out of 4 years of college paying the price of a now a used car.
Yeah,
I can rock with that.
I'll take it.
But you have to. But I think a lot of parents, because. And I'm gonna say this and I'll be done, because when the kids go to camp, it is not good business if you're at a Power 4, if you're at a, you know, whatever, you know, it's not good business to look your parent in the eye and say your kid can't play for you.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to that one about those camps. We're gonna definitely come back to the camps. That's on my list. So, Coach, as a recruiter, and you're probably having a lot more, even more direct conversation than the coaches, because like you said, a lot of it is relationship built, and you don't want to just be like, you ain't got nobody, I'm out of here. So you might have a little bit more direct conversation in reference to the college coaches and what you're hearing. So what is it that they specifically tell you?
Behind closed doors, they're going to ask, you know, height and weight, usual. Also, they're going to ask about the kid's work ethic. That's most important, because when you get to the collegiate level, regardless where it's D3 or Power 4, you're going to have to, you put in long days. Depending on the time of the year, you may practice before you go to class, and they tell you what time to report. Well, they're not going to knock on your door and beg you to come.
Right.
They may do that once or twice. If you don't have any self initiative to do it on your own, you're gone.
You can forget it.
So that the work ethic is important. Then they ask. They also ask about the kid's background. How's his family like? But that's important. They don't want parents. They want parents to be concerned. Any responsible parent's going to be concerned about his son, but they don't want parents calling them weekly.
Right.
Why is my son not doing this or doing that?
Right.
So that's a important piece of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll ask you point blank, Do you think the kid can play at that level, or is a P4, D2, or 3?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm straight up.
Mhm.
I tell them my honest opinion based on what I've seen on film and work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
what level I feel he can play at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. They put all that together,
Mm-hmm.
look at the film, then they make a determination what they're going to offer.
Right.
But
Right.
it's important that you be fair with your critique of the kid.
Mm-hmm. And so then now when we got these college coaches behind closed doors, and the one thing I try to tell parents, and a lot of times it goes over their head. Most of the time they already know why they're there. You get what I'm saying? Like, and it's not okay. Well, I want my son to go to UNC. Well, that doesn't mean UNC wants your son. Mm-hmm. And like you said, many a times they come in with sometimes like a 3-ring binder. Right. Hey, coach. Right. I'm looking at this kid and this kid. And can you get me the information and who's the decision maker? Right. And I want to talk to you about that, being a head coach, the importance of parents understanding how to date the coaches as well, because parents can screw a scholarship up for a kid, right, depending on how they, converse with the recruiter. So if you can, coach, just talk about just some of the etiquette in the recruiting process from the family aspect, like what you would suggest families when you got people on the hook, you got some teams on the hook, and how you should go about that.
I think first of all, you have to have a cordial, not too business-like, mm-hmm. but you have a cordial relationship with whatever coach comes through the door. Mm-hmm. No coach is more important than another. Mm-hmm. I think that is paramount. If a Division III coach calls you, Division I coach calls you, Power 4 coach calls you, you are the same way mm-hmm. with all of them. Mm-hmm. And understand that the process as a parent is out of your hands, which is hard for a parent to understand.
You said a lot right there.
And the only thing that you can really do is you can, as a parent, you show the recruiter that your kid is in a stable environment. Mm-hmm. They have a solid support base behind them. Mm-hmm. We're going to support them. We're going to be at all the games. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, whether that kid plays or where he plays or how much, is not up to them. And they have to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, a lot of these parents see the extreme version of it. Like, and I'm not saying he's like that, but let's say like Travis Hunter's dad was an issue or something like that. Yeah. Where he might can go in and maybe not to Dion, but go in and dictate some stuff. Yeah. Or, but that's the extreme.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world. I think, as parents got to understand that it's a process that's mm-hmm. out of their control. Mm-hmm. And the mm-hmm. only thing that they can really do is take their kids and show them the best foot they can put forward. Mm-hmm. When you go to the visits, be on time.
Yeah.
When you go to the visits, be dressed appropriately. Mm-hmm. Understand who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. Being able to shake hands, things mm-hmm. like that mm-hmm. that are just general parts of being a solid young man.
Yes.
But when you're also dealing with these recruiters that, you deal with them like in a cordial manner, but then also you're businesslike.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you have the right, have the parents have the right questions.
Right.
Be able to understand it's okay mm-hmm. to ask the likelihood of your kid getting to play, but be okay that you're going to get the answer that you're going to get.
You might not be happy with the answer.
You might not get the answer you want.
Yeah.
But I've seen, recruiters will come in and they'll ask, mm-hmm. well, what is the parents like? What are, they're going to ask.
Yeah.
Them. Yeah. They'll ask how many parents are in the home. Mm-hmm. That's usually the first question.
Is it mom and dad? That's what is it mom and dad?
And then they're going, well, how are they? Mm-hmm. And for relationship sakes with us, can't lie to them.
No,
that's right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can't lie to them. But I can soften it a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can soften it a little bit. Mom gonna get on your nerves, coach, but she all right.
Yeah, like I've had a kid. Mom's gonna be involved. Yeah, she's going to. If something's going on, she's gonna call you.
Yeah, but she all right. She good people.
But I think the more parents understand that, the relationship is everything, because when it comes down to two kids that are equal mm-hmm. athletically, mm-hmm. equal academically, mm-hmm. it's gonna come down to, it may come down to, did your mama say something sideways on the recruiting trip?
Right. Mm-hmm. Or how did y'all just look on the recruiting trip? Y'all didn't look right.
Come in looking like a hot mess, Right.
Yeah. Pajamas and Crocs.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Not a good look.
And so that's what I was going to talk about as far as just even those damn bonnets. Oh man. Yeah, I went on rants about those too. The camp etiquette. And coach, you go to camps and you're going there once again, not actually coaching it, but you're watching. So you perceive a lot. You know what I'm saying? And can you speak to player etiquette at camps? Meaning, like, how should this kid show up? I got a kid, he got some talent, and somebody told me to go to a Wake Forest camp. How should he show up at that camp?
He should show up dressed, prepared to work out, get warmed up. And one thing I see so many kids do when they show up at prospect camps, they want to get at the back of the line.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have your parents or whoever help you pay for you to participate in a particular camp, take you to the camp for you to get at the back of the line when you may have 40 or 50 people in your group.
Mm-hmm.
Get near the front of the line so you can be seen, because the more reps that you can be seen by the coaching staffs, that puts you in the spotlight. But if you stand, if you're lined up near the end of the line, you're not going to get many reps, and you may get overlooked. So that's what I tell kids: show up prepared and get at the front of the line. You want to be seen. You didn't go to Wake Forest or Western Carolina to stand at the back of the line. If you're going to stand at the back of the line, you should just stay at home. You're wasting your parents' money.
Right.
A lot of kids get overwhelmed with that. When they walk in the door
and they see all these kids.
And they see 400 kids.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why they thought it was going to be 30.
Right.
Be 30.
But they start they start gravitating to the
line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
No.
And so I finally met you officially. Reason why Wake Forest popped in my head, because that's where I met you officially at Wake Forest camp. And you had players that you and your coaches had taken. Now, this is the question: whose responsibility is this? Because a lot of parents feel like, take my kid to camp. Whose responsibility is it to get these kids to these camps and get them seen? In your opinion,
ultimately, it's the parents.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, it's our job to let them know, here are the camps that are available, how much they cost, these are the dates. And it's mom and dad, grandma, whoever's responsibility to get them there.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that every situation is different. Every, I know parents work. I know they have stuff going on Saturday. I understand that whole thing. And if I can help in any way, then absolutely I'll take you.
Right.
Or we have guys on our coaching staff. Well, such and such can't get to the camp. Well, we'll go. A lot of times camp, it's just, mine is out of curiosity. If I've never been there, I'm going. And that's probably how we met. Because I had never seen Dave Clawson run his camp. I'm going to see. But I think, like, ultimately a parent, if you understand that your kid has a chance of being recruited, then that's a plan you got to have in place. And we try to tell our parents, you need to start that when the kid is in the 10th grade. When he's a rising sophomore, he needs to be at some camps.
Right.
And I think the sophomore year, if there's a regular kid that'll turn into a college prospect by the time he's in 11th, 12th grade, the first year for that camp is to get him acclimated to what it is.
To just camp life.
To understand that you can't be in the back of the line. To understand that it's okay to be moderately aggressive in getting reps. It's okay to get reps in multiple positions. If you can. But then the second year is, now do you know what it is? Okay, so now let's pick here.
Right.
So let's not go to Alabama if you're not that guy.
Because you just giving money away.
But that's also not turn our nose up at Methodist when they have theirs.
Right.
And then that's what the next year is. That's what junior years. When you're coming into your senior year, if you got interest from somebody, you definitely go there. But then also these are the camps. This is a school I really want to go to. That's an academic fit. That's realistic for me. And you go there. Because at the end of the day, these camps not free.
No.
And I've seen parents spend $300-400 a summer.
Easy.
And that's just the registration fee. That's not the gas.
That's not gas,
hotel, food. So So I think you got to have a plan when you go to these camps, and I think you got to be realistic of what you're trying to get out of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so now when we talk about having a plan, how much does this plan, like I was just talking about it on Wednesday, and I was saying that to me, the trifecta is parent, school, and administration. Like those three have to be in unison when we're talking about recruiting and the whole process of what's going on. The administration has to be able to support the football program for whatever it needs. You got to be doing what you need to do in the classroom, and the parents have to support this so that we can get through. But when one of those are a little shaky, then kids start to fall through the cracks. So right now, I think the college scope is now weeding out those in the crack kids, like the ones that are just in the grays, the tweeners that used to be able to get over and all that stuff now. So what are we saying to those guys? Because you can ball, but this isn't it. Like, for example, signing day was the 4th or 5th. Transfer portal opened up on the 9th. A lot of dreams got crushed.
Right.
What are we saying to those guys now where you got a little bit more polishing to do? You get what I'm saying? Like, but you're also on the clock. So how do we have that conversation now with the tweeners? And your opinion, once again, is because I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, but tweeners for me used to be an easy conversation. We'll find, D2, we'll find a D3. But now it's not as easy anymore because you got guys who have been sitting back waiting that are in the portal and guys holding spots. And, without me, putting out, it happened to Zig. So literally, he said, I want to, let's look at the UNC Charlotte opportunity. I told him, I think that's a great school. Unbeknownst to him, they took a linebacker from Michigan and did not necessarily say to Zig that they were taking that guy. So in my mind, that's happening more often than not, where you see the UNC Charlottes and the Coastal Carolinas where you might be able to get that tweener in. That ain't happening. So how do we have these conversations now with these guys? Because the scope has changed.
Well, one thing you have to tell them now, you have to wait until the portal closes, because what the schools are doing now, as soon as when the portal opens on the 9th, it closes on the 28th. So if you got the tweeners, you're going to have that conversation that you're going to have to wait until after the portal closes. And once the larger schools get their picks out of the portal, if they got a slot, then they'll come back around to you. But it's a game of patience. Just like with Ryan, there may be another opportunity because, Charlotte is now looking for a new coach, and they will probably name a new coach between now and the end of the month. So, and they're going to lose quite a few of the current players. So they're going to be looking for players. So there's another opportunity for a lot of tweeners for a school like Charlotte who's looking for a new coach. Who's going to be bringing in a bunch of players. So it's a game of patience.
What you think, Coach?
I agree with him. I think it's you have to be relatively patient and then have not a wide array, but have a plan B, C, and D, and be okay with that. And if plan C doesn't work, then okay. But you got to be okay with all.
Right.
You can't be walking into a situation where you're in your feelings when you walk in the door.
Right.
But I think that's the scope of it. But the more that kids and parents and coaches understand how the portal works, because the college coaches are not going to tell you.
No,
they are absolutely not going to
tell say a word.
No.
But I think making your parents privy to be like, okay, it's okay. I'm gonna hit this coach up on Twitter and be like, hey, where are we? And if you're not, and let them know I'm comfortable if you're not, but I just need to know so I can make other arrangements. And then also you get kids to be okay with playing B, C, and D. Yeah. Because A and B may come back around.
Right.
And I've got a kid that graduated from Riverside last year that he's at plan C. And okay, now understand that A and B are still there, but A and B got to come looking for you.
Yeah.
It's not but you got to be okay.
Right.
Plan C.
Absolutely. So then now we were talking about, and I'm gonna get Zig's question because we were talking about developing players, and he was telling me that you're the quarterback whisperer. in developing quarterbacks. And so, Zig, you want to ask that question again, just about how you were asking about how he goes about his process of developing quarterbacks. Or did you forget that question?
No.
Oh.
No, as I've always said, Coach Lee is a teaching coach. I went to practice one day and had a chance just to watch him interact with his players. He was running a play, and he stopped. He was talking to me directly. It's like, I need him to notice X, Y, Z. And the way he stopped practice and talked to the player, it was like, wow, that's how you communicate. That's how you. It's also how you talk to him, the manner in which you talk to him. That's how you build relationships. That's how you get the player to trust them.
Yeah.
You heard me on the nice day.
You can say that jokingly, but it's like, I've been to multiple practices, but it's true, because coaches do have a different type of cadence, and the players know what to expect. The expectations that the coaches set for them. Again, my biggest question, as we were talking about earlier, do parents have an idea where they want their kids to play? Now that the season's over with, do they go to training and work on that craft, that second position, that third position, and then come back? Coach Lee, I think my kid can play this position. Do you give that kid that chance at that position, or
great question?
How do you evaluate?
So if you guys didn't hear the question, it was, if a player has aspirations to play another position, then what do you say as a coach when they may have had a trainer, or they go to another trainer and they start to hone their craft on another position, and then bring it to you as a coach? So then how do you handle that as a head coach, knowing that this player may have aspirations of wanting to do another position?
No, I think it's pretty wide. I think the only position it's probably not feasible to do that is probably quarterback. But if I have a kid coming to the door and he's like, well, I'm this. Cool. Okay. Look, especially at the beginning of the season, we start, like, especially now in North Carolina, where they let you have spring ball. And all that stuff. So spring ball rolling into the summer. Like, we treat them like we do our freshmen. If you tell me that you are a running back or a DB or a wide receiver, okay, cool. We'll let you come in. And if you've been working with a guy, we want to see how good you are at your craft. Can you perform? Do you understand what we're doing? What we're trying to do schematically? And if you belong, you belong. It's not a big, a big secret mix. If your kid wants to be a wide receiver, you better have a good stance. You better be able to catch a football. He better be able to understand whatever route concepts that you're running. It ain't hard. Right. But I do think that you give that kid that opportunity. Now, if a kid comes in and he's doing that, I think from an evaluative point of view, and usually this is where it comes. So if you have a kid that, let's say, for example, he plays linebacker, big kid linebacker, but he has an issue with seeing things laterally, being able to shed blocks. He doesn't play in space well. Okay, so let's talk about, you can stay at linebacker, but I got this kid and this kid that probably gonna play in front of you. Right. Or you can turn yourself into a 5 technique and play tomorrow. Right. Which one do you want? Yeah. And like, for example, I had a kid, really great kid, was super athletic, was 6'4", 200 pounds, and wanted to play. I want to play quarterback. I want to play quarterback. Okay. So we go in, and like I said, that's a whole different can of worms. We sit down and we're going over the playbook and how we do stuff and this, that, and the other. We come out in the field and they're just kids that are better than you. But okay, you 6'4", 200 pounds. I need a defensive end. And you can play this today. Right. This is getting you on the bus right now. And you don't have to know it. You don't have to know as much. Right. I saw him. He's not scared. Wanted no part of that. Right. Okay. So now, you in no man's land. So I don't know. But I think, you allow kids to do what they want to do.
Right.
Because I think at the end of the day, a kid will play harder for you. The kid is playing where they want to play.
Right, right, right.
There's a rule we have in our program. We like with offensive line, we don't turn kids into offensive line. You gotta want to play that.
Right, right.
Oh,
right.
hey, you can play guard tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh no. My quarterback will look me in the eye. No, coach, you're not doing that.
Yeah, it ain't in his heart. Don't do that.
but I do think that, especially the high school level, you encourage kids to try. We have no problem encouraging a kid to play baseball.
Yeah.
Or basketball.
Yeah.
So if you think that you can play this position, okay, cool.
And so what you saying that, I was actually going to ask this, that was leading to my next question. Off season, would you rather see your students playing complementary sport or specializing? Because that's the thing where people be like, I don't want to hoop no more. I want to just get a trainer and now I start working with a trainer. Or would you rather see your guys doing a complementary sport?
I think it's a little of both. If you got a kid, I think and especially in a high school standpoint. Now coaches college polished, it's totally different. From a high school standpoint, you have to do a really good job of recruiting your building. And when I say recruiting your building, I got to recruit the basketball coach. I got to recruit the wrestling coach and the baseball coach. So I'll take my own kid, for example. So my kid plays for me. He's a sophomore this year. And so last year, I know that like my kid has a decent arm. He's not a quarterback, but he has a decent arm. He's left-handed. Yeah. Okay. Hey man, you're going to play baseball. You are going this year. You are going to play. And but the whole thing is I need baseball kids to see that there's a football kid out there. And they're like, oh, okay, he's playing. And so they'll be comfortable playing football. I need to have, I don't think like the old school methodology of no, you just play football all the time. Or you the kids just play football and run track. Right. Because that was the same coach. I think the methodology of that is dead. You got to encourage your kids to play multiple sports. I'm from a small school where we had to play multiple sports. So we didn't have to take. There's a translation that last year that Reedsville won the state championship in football and basketball. Right. With the same kid. There's a direct translation. Right. Now, on the flip side of that, if you have a kid that is just special, for example, we have a kid on our baseball team. He's a sophomore. He's 6'4", about 200 pounds. Sophomore, and he throws 87 miles an hour. Ooh. And he's like, my baseball coach came in. He was like, "Yeah, you need to play." No, you don't. Yeah, absolutely not. I don't want to see you. Right. I don't want that. Number one, if you're a 10th grader throwing 87, then you'll be a 12th grader throwing 92. Right. And that's where you're gonna make your bucks. Yeah, that's where you're gonna make your bucks. Yeah, I don't want. Yeah. And I think you have to ride that line. Kind of, if your kid is exceedingly special, then like if you got an offensive lineman that's 6'4", 302, but he thinks he's a hooper. Yeah. Nah. And he may actually help the basketball. Right. But every time he gets a rebound, I'm cringing. Thinking he's gonna come down on somebody's foot and turn his ankle. Right. Go on with your trainer. Right. Go do that. So I think it depends on the kid. Yeah. Like you want everybody to play everything because I think as a school community, that's the only way you're gonna get good at everything. Yeah. But I think you have to be realistic. Now you're gonna fight parents over that. Yeah. The only thing that you can help them do, like I have to make my baseball parents feel good about, I'm gonna keep your kids out of harm's way. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna be doing too much. This, you invite, this is the way we practice. We're not killing each other every day. But I also think that, as a school, you're not gonna be good at everything until you get everybody to play. Right.
So then now on the college side, are you seeing that the demand for that, or are you seeing it as they're just ready to take the guys, and if they specialize in one, cool?
Well, the colleges are high on kids that play multiple sports, but it's going to depend on the individual. Like you said, a 300-pound lineman is not pushing the needle by getting on the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on the individual, and it's probably split in half. 50% of the guys play multiple sports.
Yeah.
The other half specializes.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the individual and their skill set. But colleges are high on multi-sport athletes coming in.
Mm-hmm.
They encourage it.
So then now, Coach, when you're setting up your recruiting for the year, because that is a thing that you got to do because guys are coming in, what do you need parents and players to have ready for that as well to assist you? Because I think people think we have like this magic wand and poof, you get a school, poof, you get a school. How can they assist you in that process of even being ready for when those guys come through the door?
I think first thing is just being aware of what you are. I'm going to say academically first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, you need to be aware of what you are academically. A lot of recruiting is, can we get you in school?
Mm-hmm.
And once we get you in there,
mm-hmm.
can you stay?
Can you maintain?
Yeah. Can you stay there? And that's the days of the guy with the 2.2 GPA. And we gonna slide him in school because what the data shows is that kid's gonna flunk out by the end of his sophomore year.
Yeah.
And now you wasted $250,000 worth of investment over a kid that's gonna be sitting at home.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing that you gotta really get parents on board with is know where your kid is academically, be able to polish as much as you can, and you need to start that when a kid is a freshman. A kid walks in the door, Don't shoot your kids' dreams in the foot by not making them study.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of it is understand the tools that a college coach needs to have in order to do his job. College coaches are their Twitter guy. So you got to make sure your kid has a Twitter. You got to understand what's on it. It can't be on it. You use this Twitter for this purpose and this purpose only.
Right.
And then understand how that correlates into your other social media. Twitter is for coaches. Your Instagram is for you and your homies, but you can understand your coaches are going to look at what you put out there for you and your homies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also, then it has to go to the point of, and this is where I see that we have to do a better job of preparing our kids for is when they walk in the door with the coach. And if I had a nickel for every time the coach sits there and sits down, so do you have any questions for me? And they don't say shit.
Nah, they hit you with the nah.
And they say because they don't they haven't been prepped for it. Like, at first I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking parents are doing this. You understand, like, they don't have the question. Nah. So now we slide this in front of kids. Hey, you're gonna ask this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. Like, so when you sit down with parents, I think the thing is to get them comfortable enough, being okay with what they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for parents to navigate is admitting that they don't know the process.
Right.
Especially the ever evolving, world of recruiting.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, go ask somebody.
So how are you combating? Because I had to do it a little bit, and I know it has to be even harder now. How are you combating the misinformation? Because, for example, let's say you do have a kid that goes to a trainer, right? And the trainer is telling everybody that I get kids in the school and bop, 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 and gives the list of kids. But then now all of a sudden mom has invested money in this trainer, but does not see the return on investment. How are you balancing the misinformation that, people have this magic wand and this trainer go here, and if you want it, go to this trainer? How are you combating that?
I think the only thing, you have to ask questions about the trainer. What is the trainer doing and what is he not doing? Anything they're doing athletically, I don't question at all. That's something a parent can look at,
right, and
know what they're doing. But if that trainer does not mention anything about academics, if he doesn't say anything about what I just said, academics, social media, you're not training.
Right.
You're training just athletically only.
Right.
Now, if you like, as a parent, if you like that trainer and the trainer's not doing any of that other stuff,
Mhm.
then okay, now
Mhm.
you need to have this in place, this in place, this in place,
Mhm.
this in place, and this in place.
Mhm.
There's just trainers that don't do that.
Right.
Just if you pay your money, and I'm gonna show you how to make a difference between a zone turn and a man turn, and how to play off man, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And a kid may absolutely benefit from that.
Right.
But if you're not doing anything to prepare
Right.
that kid to be able to, hey man, what your grades look like?
Right.
Hey,
Right.
bring me a transcript.
Right.
If it takes two seconds to have that conversation.
Right.
If that's not being done,
Mhm.
then I think it's our responsibility to put those blocks in place.
And so now, with putting those blocks in place, now this might get a little controversial, so you don't have to answer it. This is block being blocked, but you can answer it, Coach. And what I'm about to say is, how often do you see a student athlete receive a scholarship without the high school coach being talked to? Meaning the trainer is the one that's able to say, I got this kid, and then that's it. I'm good. I'm done. The reason why I say that is because a lot of parents invest in the word and the verbiage of trainers as if they're the single reason why this kid has gotten into school. And I tell parents all the time, I don't care who your player is. That coach is not investing in him without talking to your head coach. Now, y'all can give y'all opinions of whether y'all believe that or not. I just gave y'all mine. Y'all can believe that if y'all want to. As a coach, he spends more time with your child every single day versus a guy who may be with your child 2-3 times a week. His word means something when it comes down to getting that national letter of intent. But y'all, now I'll let y'all go with it. That was my opinion.
I know of 0 cases.
Okay.
Because the coach, whether the player is still currently under that coach or has played for that coach,
Mhm.
before any school that I'm aware of, before that school makes an offer, they're going to contact that coach.
Mhm.
And depending on what that coach says, the head coach says, will either accept or deny the kid getting an offer. They're going to, regardless of who you have training your son, they're going to make contact, have a brief conversation with the head coach. That's customary.
Coach?
I agree 100%.
Okay.
I have never in 18 years, I have never had a kid go to college and that guy didn't call or didn't.
Right.
Never.
Right.
I think from a college coach's standpoint, they're not going to piss away a relationship with you.
Right.
Over that.
Right.
I think that's a basketball thing.
Right. Yeah.
AAU. Yeah, that's a basketball thing.
Yeah.
They don't do that in football.
Yeah, and I want parents to understand that, because a lot of claim to fame at times is for trainers to be able to say, I did this, I did that with the kid, I put this kid, I did that. And what I want parents to know is it is a collective effort. Everybody has to be on the same point to get a kid to a scholarship level.
Takes a village.
It takes a complete village. It is not one specific person. It is a team of people. Now, there is influence, right? Of course, there's influence because there are trainers who have connections and things like that. But everything comes back to the head coach, because he's with your child every day. And then, Coach, I don't know, you tell me, because I've had it done. I've had coaches come in my school and start talking to teachers, because they want to see the character of a student. Like, well, give me 2 of his teachers that he can talk to, or at least get a letter of recommendation from. So y'all can talk to that where it's even outside in the community.
I haven't had, no, I'm going to tell you a lie. The service academies do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Army, Navy, Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple of kids that, and and they'll come in and they'll, because they also know that if a kid is not desirable, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw a kid under the bus.
Right.
I'm never going to do that.
Right.
But I hate to say it, a teacher will.
Yeah.
A teacher,
quick.
If a kid is a character issue,
yeah,
I'm never gonna say, well, no, you don't want him,
right?
He's a ham,
Yeah.
But that third period teacher that he's raising hell in,
she gonna say it, yeah.
But yeah, the only schools I've ever seen do that.
Mhm.
The Service Academy.
Okay. Okay. See, I had a couple Ivy League schools do that. Cornell did it, Harvard did it, and Yale kind of sort of. They just needed letters of recommendation. And definitely, like you said, all the service people did. Then I found out Penn State did it. They asked the corner store guy, did they ever see my guy in the store during school time? And it caught me off guard. And I know the guy, Coach Terry Smith from Penn State. He's the guy who gave me my first head coaching job. And when he came down to, or he had one of his guys come down to talk to my defensive end. And he said, how often do you go down to the corner store? Because we had a corner store literally right at the end of the street. And my guy was like, oh, every now and again. He's like, you go during school hours? And I'm like, damn. Like, and there, in my mind, it didn't even register why he was asking that question. I'm like, huh? So when he left, he was like, nah, I just stopped there to get gas and asked if they ever see a 6'5" kid from Enloe come in here during school hours. And they said no, but it was cool. I'm like, damn.
Translates directly to do you stop at the canteen when you're supposed to be in position meeting?
Yeah.
Right. Translates directly.
Right. And so those things are different things that play a part in the recruiting process. And like I told you guys, my goal is to always make sure you get the right information with that. And before we let Coach go, because we've been at this, I didn't even feel like it, but we've been at this for an hour.
Nope.
I got to get you on the board, Coach. And the only reason why I got to get you on the board is because if you're the quarterback whisperer, then we need quarterback information of how we train a good quarterback. So, for example, I was working with Ryan Ziegler, and one of the things I told him about linebacker is you should be able to diagnose the play fast enough that it should look like you're blitzing even when you're not. But the only way you can do that is if you study film enough to be able to get the tendencies. So in a time where quarterback is prime and you have a lot of guys making a lot of money training quarterbacks out here, how do you set up training a quarterback on the board to where they can sit down and start understanding what you're drawing up? So you're going to draw it up because I got a pen. I got that microphone you just clip onto yourself.
I got you.
And then just how you start your process of how you teach your guys.
So the first thing that I usually do when I'm training a quarterback is I want them to know what the defensive guys' jobs are.
All right, man, draw it up. I got you. We got the screen right here. The camera is on you. That's that one. That little one is the lapel mic, and then you just hold that other piece right there.
You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, cool. All right, where's the pen?
Over there on the right.
All right. So let's.
All right, Coach, you got to draw for people on the camera, man. Like,
all right, where's it at?
Nice and big. It's behind you.
All right, where's the eraser?
So start draw from the step to the left a little bit. Step to your left, to your left, to your left, and then nice and big.
All right.
There we go.
All right, so let's say we're in the pistol, 3x1, over here. So strength, 3, 5, shape, 5, back. You want to split this one? I need a defensive guy. You want to split this?
That's fine.
Corner, safety up top. All right, so. One of the things that we run at Riverside, which we're going to run as long as I'm there, is we like running the slant wheel concept.
Okay.
So normally what we do is we want our quarterback to understand what everybody's job is, usually from here over.
Oh, step to the left.
All right.
Because there you go. Because your camera's right there. There you go.
All right. So we teach our guy. This guy's, usually they're in quarter half or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We teach this guy, quarterback, he is going to do one thing, backpedal. He is going to.
Mm-hmm.
That's his job. Okay. This guy will be hook, curl, flat. That's his job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This guy's job is to stay over top with eyes on number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this guy's job, and I'll split it right down the middle, is hook, curl there. If it's all pass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or if the back leaves, that's his problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when we run our slant wheel concept, we teach 50-degree angle there. Okay. We teach wheel comes off of the wide receiver's outside foot right off of his ass. So we can turn our head around and throw it early if we need to. We teach this guy seam to green grass. So now, when we're teaching our quarterback, we know now this guy here, his job is to stay over top. So when we drop back, if this guy backpedals, we throw this no matter what. Because if this guy has to do this, he can't get there fast enough.
Right.
This guy backpedals, okay? He can't get there. This guy can't go but so far
because he got that going up the seam.
And so this is where it comes down to, like Zig, when you were talking about. So in year one, usually what happens with our progression of quarterbacks, they struggle year one because they're having to learn all this. Okay. Year two, they blossom because then they understand. So if, say for example, this corner comes down and he's shaded inside, okay, we teach him, okay, if he's shaded inside, he might be a man. If he doesn't backpedal, if he goes with him, we period.
Yeah.
Okay. This route right here, we teach is a when we tell you to.
Okay.
So year one, he may never throw this.
Yeah.
Okay. Year two, when he sees that, because he knows that this guy, he can't stay here. He's got to go with this guy once he goes. But if he sees that this is vacated, absolutely throw that.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, year one is you do it to the letter of what we tell you to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, year two, you can throw that.
Yeah.
Okay. And usually, like I said, we've been running this all 8 years I've been to Riverside, and they know we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And we still do
it. Yeah. Cool.
And so that translates to understanding on this side. So then if we don't, so when we decide we're gonna run it here, same 50-degree angle, same corner. This guy here we has the curl flat. We may do it when we bring the back out of here. Doesn't change. Pedals. Corner goes with you because he can't get you.
Right.
So, I mean, it's from a standpoint of developing the quarterback. It comes to year one, do what we ask you. Year two, you can make some decisions.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, year three, even if we don't have this going on, we're a heavy OBO team. So a lot of times we will we'll false pull and run that. So year 3 and 4, we ask our quarterback, come up. We have shade 5 on this side. Okay. What's the down and distance? Okay. If it's 3rd and 3, okay, which is the easiest one? So I may not want to take this outside slant because that's a long throw. 3rd and 3.
Right.
Is this open?
Right.
Yes or no? Do we have a shade 5 on this side where we're going to pull that block down, climb there? Can we get that on 3rd
and get our 3?
Yeah. So the progression of that is to be able to have him grow to make all this decisions to himself.
Yes, sir.
Now, what you got to have though, and what we don't get in high school, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what is hard to have in high school now is a situation of having a quarterback for 4 years.
Right.
That's going to be your issue.
Yeah.
So I have never had one. I've never had a quarterback for 4 years. But usually my maximum is 2. But the data shows when I get a year 2 guy, like the first year 2 guy, I got was Landon Sledge.
So
So Landon Sledge came in.
he lit it up.
Yeah. So but that was year 2. So year 1, he comes in. He's been, he's been a quarterback since he was 6.
Yeah.
He's been trained to do this, this, this. And so he's been trained in progressions. Coach, you don't have any progressions. No, we're conflict. If he does this, you throw this. If he does that, you throw that.
Right.
And so year 1, all he was going to do, all he did was throw the wheel.
Yeah.
Because it's the cool route.
Yeah. Deep.
Deep route, deep ball.
Yeah.
But year 2, he understood, okay, I've got a guy behind me that's really good. And he could get all that. And then he understood, okay, if this backer, he would watch film. If that backer is not very, very good, and that corner, like usually what you get from high school defense, they can't do so much.
Right. Agree.
Even if you're in cover 2, and I press you vertically for 3 yards, you got to backpedal. That's your job.
Yeah.
You got to take the vertical.
Yeah.
You have to.
That's the rule.
Until you figure out something else.
Yeah.
So he made a living throwing that slant.
Yeah.
A living.
Yeah.
Throwing it. And then we added in the guy at number 3, and Landon figured out, we have a tag call to throw it, to let him know we're getting ready to throw it.
Yeah.
And so we would tag it, we would call it, dump it
Gone.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, first year he throws for 900 yards. Next year he throws for 4,200. So and then the quarterback after that, his first year he threw for 700. Next year he threw for 1,900.
Yeah.
So just get it, but it's getting a kid that has been trained to do this, that, and the other. To, hey man, I need you to differentiate between what they're teaching you, and what I need you to know.
Right.
And so that becomes the big challenge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff that they do in college is what trainers do. And that may not translate to what I need.
Right.
And usually that's where the struggle comes in. So
yeah. And now, so before we get out of here, Coach, and same thing with you, Coach Brooks, give some advice for the kid who thought this was going to go a certain way and it didn't. So I thought I was going to be the guy who had the offers and all that, and now I find myself in the rat race of trying to figure out what my next step is. Give those guys some advice before we get out of here.
I guess from a high school standpoint, since we sit in the middle of high school transfer portal and everybody wants to leave, nobody wants to stay and develop this, that, and the other. If that's what you want to do, and I'm, by no means, I'm a high school coach and I'm getting ready to tell them, if you're going to transfer, if you're going to transfer, go somewhere where you have the best chance to play, even if that's a division down. So like kids get hung up, just like they get hung up on Power 4, FBS. Oh, I got to play 4A football. Nobody gives a damn. You can go to a 2A school and play. Yeah. Go play. And if you can go where you can start, because at the end of the day, you need varsity film.
Yes.
You need that. You need to go somewhere where you can play. Now, if, you got to pick really care. A lot of that has to do with, can your parents get you there? How can, parents find a way.
They make it happen when they want to.
And I think for kids that are, already there and they're in their niche or whatever, is start really looking at, do you love this enough to play it on the next level? Because I think that's a big part of it. And if you had to play at a Division III, if you had to play at an NAI, would you still play? I think that's a huge thing. A lot of those are, I got to play this or bust. If you want to play that badly, let's find some places that have what you need from a major standpoint. Just looking at life after football. And be okay. But like we talked about at the beginning of the cast, play for a discount. And find out what that discount is and where you can go. the important thing is the memories you're gonna have.
Right.
You know, not everybody gets a chance to play college football. Not everybody plays on Saturday.
I know that's right.
And that's something that you'll carry with you forever.
Right.
And you don't want to be the guy that, you know, how many times, you know, have you heard, well, I was getting a look at such and such. They were looking at me. You're 50 years old and
Right.
such school was you know, but okay. I was in school and UNC was looking at me.
Yeah.
Or I went to North Carolina Wesleyan with all conference and played for 4 years.
Yeah.
And played.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, just having that realization of understanding what I got to get out of my high school career if I want to go to the next level, and then understand the recalibration of what the next level is.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what people don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Words of encouragement, Coach, because you know the first round of signing didn't happen and some people didn't do it. So give some words of encouragement about that.
Encouragement is to remain patient and see what openings or offers you end up with, and make a wise decision on the opportunities that you are given. Don't get locked up on I got to play Power 4. I'm not going to play at all. Be open to all of the divisions. And, if you want to play at the next level.
And so, Coach, also, because I don't know if you help other coaches, but other quarterbacks, but if you do, man, how can somebody reach out to you if they want to kind of get their kid looked at as, I know you help all kids. So how can somebody get in contact with you?
You can find me on our, you can email me at riversidepiratesfootball@gmail.com. Of course, you can call me at school. What is it? 919-560-3965. Just ask for Coach Lee. They'll find me. I agree with you. Like I want kids to do well. I don't care where they do it. I don't care, you know, who they do it with. But I think, you know, as far as, you know, being a quarterback, I think the most important thing is just find somebody that understands what it takes to play that position, and understand that, you know, it's the only position on the field that they only got one.
That's it.
And you got to understand that.
That's right.
And Coach Brooks, give up your social media and everything so somebody can contact you if they need film evaluation or recruiting assistance.
I can be contacted on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can just send me a direct message and I'll respond to you in a timely manner.
And Coach is traditional. His stuff is just Ed Brooks. So you ain't got to worry about no.
Yeah, it ain't hard to remember.
You like Dion. It ain't hard to find.
It ain't hard to find.
And if you do, and also if you need any assistance, I am down to help you as well. Everything for me is the same. Coach Ken Blocker. And that's it. This is the First and Goal 365 podcast. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Coach Brooks and I are also going to get back into the swing of doing the high school highlights. So if you have a student athlete, we have no bias, guys. If you have a student athlete that you would like to have highlighted, we have no problem with putting them on the podcast. Just hit us up and we'll make sure we set up the date and the time for you. Other than that, y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy the games tonight. Peace.
Peace. Thank you. Rick, you want my phone?